Hello, I'm Luke Darcy. Welcome to the 2013 wash-up for the Bombers. Damo, unfortunately, off-field matters totally overshadowed the on-field achievements of the Bombers this year.
They did. We'll delve into those off-field matters pretty soon, Darcy. But from a purely footy perspective, for this club to be 13-3 after 16 matches, just defied what was going on around that footy club for the entire year. It certainly proves that the playing list is definitely something that can do something in years to come.
Yeah, season highlight for me, Damo, was Jobe Watson, the skipper, coming off a Brownlow medal year to handle a level of pressure that I think no other captain's ever had to deal with before. I thought his leadership was incredible. I think halfway through the year, he'll be in front of the Brownlow medal again. He broke his collarbone and missed 3 weeks, which would cost him. He was booed at stages through the year. I didn't like that at all, Damo. I know fans are entitled to do it. This was the game where it started over in the West Coast after the controversy came out with the supplements and him talking about AOD. They came from behind to win that game, and Jobe Watson's performance was absolutely incredible. Unbelievable leader, unbelievable person, and he was a highlight for me.
Yeah, my highlight, Darcy, is another famous Essendon name, but a young version of that name, Joe Daniher, making his debut on this particular occasion here against Carlton. There was so much anticipation around it, and he showed more than enough in that first hit out at the big time to know why they were so excited about getting him as a father-son. I mean, he's so green and raw, isn't he? He's like a big, gangly 2-year-old colt, but you know he's going to be a star.
Just that highlight that you see there, Damo, the athleticism, the skill, the ability to mark, the ability to play on. Hadn't seen him play as a junior at all, but they've got an absolute beauty on their hands. There's mum and dad. I loved it too. It was a great moment, and that's why I think their list is in really good shape, and going forward they can still very much look forward to contending in finals. Low light, Damo, I think both you and I are in sync that the whole saga, the whole Asada investigation, it's probably one of the lowest points in the history of the game, Damo, fair to say.
Yeah, this was irregular, wasn't it? James Hird leaving his house and providing a quick statement to media. Paul Little on the right there, Ray Gunston on the left, Danny Corcoran. Man caught up in this entire saga. James Hird's wife Tanya there, dealing on the day that actually Hird's sanction was handed down. Media waiting outside AFL House, that became regular too. This footy club still hasn't got its head around what it did wrong, and that's what it needs to do as much as anything over the off-season. It needs to actually put its hand up and admit to some of the errors it did. And it's taken the sanctions, but there are still comments coming out of that club privately that they don't know what they did wrong. And I think they need to do that as a starting point, Das, before they actually move on from this embarrassing saga.
Yeah, I understand all that, Damo. I found it really hard to watch people who've had great history in all walks of life suddenly find themselves walking through football clubs looking like criminals. And the human element, it always upsets me. David Evans has got a great history in the game. His family and his father is the chairman of the AFL Commission. Alongside him is Ian Robson there, who lost his role as chief executive, comes with a big reputation in the game. James Hird, one of the most revered figures in the game, Damo. He's now suspended for 12 months. Danny Corcoran's been around for a long period of time. Regardless of what's happened, I just found that part. I'm big on second chances in life, and I think a lot of those people have had the most galling experience. Some are brought on by their own actions, absolutely. You have to be accountable for your own actions, but I just found watching people lose their jobs, their livelihoods, was a pretty hard thing to see happen. Christmas bonus time, Damo, and as you said, on field, I thought they were remarkable. And Michael Hibberd, I reckon, was on track to be an All-Australian as a half-back flanker in the first part of the year. Like a lot of his teammates, it wore him down in the end. He dropped off a bit, but he really went from being, a good, consistent performer to a really dangerous player who was providing great rebound. I thought he was sensational.
Does he stay as a half-back flanker, does?
I think he probably does.
Yeah.
I think they really need that sort of role. Half-back's become as important. It has been for a while, but if you've got somebody who can kick it, still push forward. He might spend a little bit of time in the midfield, but he's a potential All-Australian for sure.
Yeah, my bonus for the Christmas bonus goes to Dyson Heppell, Das. We know how good he's been in his previous 2 seasons. He's a NAB Rising Star winner. He was runner-up in the best and fairest last year. He's going to be thereabouts again, I would have thought, in that club count, wouldn't he? I mean, what you saw this year. If he's not runner-up, he's going to be in the top 3 or 4, I would have thought.
He kept his standards at the highest level. Former NAB Rising Star, and it often gets harder in your second year of AFL football and your third year of AFL football, but he is just a quality player. They pushed him in the midfield, they wanted him to do that. He took that challenge and handled it without any dramas at all, so he'll continue to be, and I think probably, as you said...
Unfazed, us.
He's got a great manner about him. I love Dyson Heppell. A little one for me, if you're handing out bonuses, the media manager at Essendon, Justin Rodsky, hardest working person in the game. More requests came through him this year, so a mention to him. Chopping block time, it's going to be an interesting period at Essendon. They are excluded from the first and second rounds of the draft for the next 2 years, so they've got to find a way, I think, to get themselves back into it. players of the like Gumbleton, Pears, Bellchambers and Cranbridge's name gets mentioned a lot. I think they'll look at players like that, try and trade away and get a first or second round selection, and any one of those four are potential for that.
Yeah, it does. I'm putting the veteran Dustin Fletcher into this category, not because I don't want him to go on. I do want him to go on, and he's already committed to, and the club wants him to. But I thought what happened this year, Das, for the first time in his very long career, he just looked an old man at times. And I know he had some injury issues as well, which kicked in and made it worse for him. But I think as we close on 2013 and start into 2014, he's under a fair bit of pressure to maintain the very lofty standards that he's done. He needs to, if it's not working out for him early on, call it quits and pull a pin.
You look like an old man, Damo, because he's 48 and has played about 20 seasons. It's incredible.
But if you're going to go again, Das, you've got to play a role. You can't just do it for the sake of doing it and breaking the club record.
All right, let's have a look at where the Bombers can improve again next year. And for me, there's one man, if I had anything to do with Essendon, I would be just spending a huge amount of time on turning Michael Hurley into an A-grader. I like Essendon and sometimes think he should go back and play in defence where he started his junior career, and then I flip the other way and think turn him into a 60-goal full forward or a centre forward or around that area, and Essendon take the step and come back into a top four club. He's the one. He's got to become an A-grader. Probably leaning at the moment towards just keeping him as a forward, but 50, 60 goals out of Michael Hurley next year is what I want to see.
Is he that good to do that?
He is, yeah, absolutely. He just has to find the consistency. You remember, key forwards take time. He's 22 or 23, so there's time to do it, but big year next year for Michael Hurley.
You touched on this a moment ago. To me, they've just got to trade desperately back into the first rounds of the draft. We know they're allowed to do that. They need to use, as you said, the currency on certain players. Cranberry's the one who's got a really good offer from the Bulldogs in front of him, and I think they need to probably execute that deal. As much as they'd love to keep him, but they need to get someone in, some draft picks in, and I think they will do it. They have to do it.
Now, where are we looking next year, Damo, for the Bombers in 2014? And we're going to take the starting base as 14 wins and 8 losses before the sanctions came in. Will they improve, Damo, on their 14 wins next year?
I think the turmoil still is yet to settle, Dar. So I'm saying a stagnating type of year for them. New coach to come in and all the turmoil still to be resolved. I reckon if they got to where they were 14 and again, they'd be doing really well.
Yeah, I'm with you, Damo. I think the turmoil was going to hurt them. I think they'll go down the ladder next year. They haven't got a football manager who's suspended. You haven't got a coach. You have got a new president. A lot of the things that are stable around a footy club aren't there. It's going to be tough for them. I think they'll go down and not win 14 games next year. Thank you, Damo. That has been the wash-up for the Essendon Football Club in season 2013.